I hate this camera. Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. If you get anything from my work, a Connect, Dine, Epiphany, a Mind Explosion, or Expansion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, artwork, hot off the presses. There's a lot of gems throwing up in this one. Copper. You can check all of that out at alleycatcreations211.com. It's just a portfolio. If you're interested in anything or you want me to customize something for you, email me, and all those links to support me are in the description below. I have yet to hear from the job if I'm hired or not. Still waiting every day. I look like I smoked 12 bong hits. I did not. I have smoked in a long time. After getting the girls off to school this morning, I had to do a million errands because the eclipse day, I and Viking and the girls got to tailgate and see the entire eclipse. And then we went to the park and played with the doggy. We took their dog to the park and we didn't get home until late. And then it was this morning, and oh my goodness. Yeah, so when you don't cut your grass in my town, it gets a certain length, you kind of start getting yelled at. I didn't get yelled at, but my neighbor did because they never take care of anything. So I basically had to go mow my lawn for the very first time this spring. So that took me a few hours to do, and whatever is out there, I am allergic to. So I'm a little light on the makeup today. It's not black, I promise. Yeah, I'm just, but I want to get a reading done today. The message of Aquaria, and this is the second woe. Before I begin with this book, please, if you're interested in anything I do, go check out the last A Pondering. It's in the Spiritual Soul Advice tab. I go over the time lateral. And I've been getting downloads. I mean, a lot of us have been the last couple of days. And oh man, that one blew my mind. I've heard it before. I heard the channeling before, but like reading it for myself, too many connect the dots to even put and fathom together. That was another reason why I'm like, I gotta look this stuff up. Yeah, so check that episode out. There was so much more I wanted to say during that episode, and I did not. I wanted to keep it coherent, if that's possible in my realm of thinking. We're going to Curtis way, so I mean, they're never wrong, or I don't know. For me, they hard align with me for the most part. Some stuff not so much, but I always point that out. Oh, I hate allergies. The second woe, quote, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, end quote. Revelation. Now, again, I'm reading this with you guys. I have yet to read this book besides what I do on my videos. Okay, so when I first opened up the book to get to this chapter, because I'm reading the PDF off of my computer. What? One woe is past. And I know you can open and interpret any of this stuff from the Bible. Okay, wait. And behold, there come two woes more. hereafter. So if I can insert the time lateral channeling from yesterday into this is kind of why I mentioned it. Atlantis sank. Bye-bye. And then you have the positive polarity fleeing to lands and underneath and fourth density, and who knows what other realms those people fled to, whether you also have the negative polarity that flood. The woe there is that we've always been in some sort of time lateral. We were taken off our track though in our time, like our conscious time space where we perceive this way, we got taken off the main track. So I would believe Atlantis would be the first woe. The second one is being, oh, sorry, not enough of you can go and graduate and ascend because there's not enough of you. And holy crap, you guys are kind of holding the light, but you're not holding it completely because you're just falling for all the madness in the fuck world. Hello. So I believe that second woe was 2012. Because it wasn't the end of the world. It was supposed to be the ascension. But that never happened. And that's not to say that people who died back then, like I had my dad die in 2005, like they're not ascending a forest. They're already gone and up and having fun. But for the experiment in humanity, we were supposed to already be moved and seeing it and feeling and experiencing it. The woe that Quo talks about is the cleanup. Because we didn't have a clean, tidy earth when most of us were born. I mean, most of the people still alive today are boomers. And then, you know, my parents' age, and then everybody after that. And as we're getting older, we weren't really handed a tidy earth to begin with. This is now going to be our jobs in whatever capacity you could do it at to be the cleanup crew so that our kids, grandkids, and year after can inhabit a nice, beautiful place that is already fourth density. It's just we have to meet the energy to see it, but we still have to clean up our mess. That's going to take time, and I believe that's like the, as Jory Lawrence would say. I mean, and then possibly, you know, this is going to take a very long time, and people are going to, the other woe, in my opinion, is that the bridge that was up, letting in good and bad things, it's closed, and then there will be a separation of flow. And I believe that bridge closed the other day. So the woe of what's going on in our outer worlds is going to be here in the theaters near you, and it already has happened. Back to the book. Sorry, I had to explain that. That just trickled my head. Quote, and he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. End quote. St. Matthew. Quote, as for these beings, and these, I'm sorry, strike that. Quote, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come in which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. St. Luke. By all who listen with the inner ear of understanding, there can be heard today a great sound of a trumpet. It is sounding from the four winds in thunderous waves of heart-searching melody, unheard as yet amid the strife of earth. Yet the elect, or every ear attuned to the overtones of life, can discern beneath the great unrest of the peoples of all lands the rhythmic beat of angels' wings, can feel as never man has felt before the urge to gather together, to stand shoulder to shoulder, sinking all differences of opinion, creed, and politics in a united effort to prepare for the second woe, the second phase of the Great War drama, which closes this cycle. The first phase of which was the World War, which has been fought out on the physical plane. One woe is past, behold, there comes two woes more hereafter. Back to Quo says the same shit the other day. We got to stand united and come together and work in groups, each group having a specific purpose. Whether you're interested in, you are an expert in gardening, cooking, making clothes, metalworking, being a construction worker, like every group you could possibly think of in humanity. People like me, that's an artist, but I also do teach, and I have, I don't have a license, but but you know what I mean, with my education background, with my job. But I read a lot of books. Like, I'm an artist. Like, I'd be with all the arty people and spiritual people. Like, there's so many things that we could choose, but we need to unify and all come together in these groups so we can all just start making the world a better place. Got to get the ego out of the way. The second woe will just as surely come as did the first. In fact, it is now upon us. And if we are to learn wisdom from the bitter experience of the past years, it behooves us to preach continually the doctrine of preparedness for that which is sure to follow. The second woe will be the testing, cleansing, and proving of the ideals and teachings of the religious and moral world, and their natural consequences in the industrial, political, and social fabric of the nations. Yes, we are actually here. We're seeing the destruction of the old, and now we have to form new. Even if the Articles of Confederation are what we're going back to, that doesn't mean that we are all approving of the laws that are bound by each state and all the millions of laws that are in existence that no one even knows about, which you're held liable for, even though you don't know about them. And then all the turning over of, because I can tell you right now that the sloppy mess that goes on with my town and the situation that's playing out in front of me, these people don't do their jobs, nor do they care to do their jobs. They want a paycheck. They show up in a cute little outfit, sporting nice guns, and they're not doing what they need to do. They're not investigating. They're not doing things that they need to do. They're just pointing fingers and making assumptions. And that could be said throughout the country and throughout all the towns and all the infrastructure, how things are run. Who's responsible for all this nonsense? A lot of things have to be rewritten, and I don't think we fully can even put into words the complexity of all of that. This is the woe that is to come, because it's going to take a while for us to get ourselves back on track. We may say that the war drama must be again fought out, but now in the mental world with thoughts, arguments, and ideals for the weapons, unless we should go so far to forget the principles of liberty and thought and freedom of religious expression upon which this country was founded and as permitted physical conflict. Just as the World War involved all the nations of the world, so that even those who call themselves neutrals nevertheless had to suffer from it. So this mental phase of the drama of the ages will involve every phase or presentation of religious thought or expressional lands. And because our social fabric, our laws, politics, and government are all supposedly built upon the religious conceptions of the people, the testing, scouring, and purifying process must embrace every institution of man's building. Just as the physical war reached down into and altered the foundation of the Society of Nations, so shall the coming mental war reach down to and alter the very foundations on which our liberty of thought and our freedom of religious expression are based. Now, if you take the word religion out of there, it's just doing you, boo. Quo touched upon that too yesterday in that channeling. They're not saying too many different things here. They just focus, they're Christian mystics, so they focus more on the religious aspects, but it's true. The religious conceptions, beliefs, and thoughts of all humanity have built up a mighty temple composed of many, many goodly stones. Each nation has built its part of this temple. Hence, no division of mankind can entirely escape from the responsibility and the consequences which it entails. For it was the temple of humanity to which Jesus alluded when he said, "No one stone shall be left upon another that shall not be thrown down." And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard, sorry guys, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, "Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." The trumpet sounded by the sixth angel announced the close of the fifth subrace and the beginning of the sixth, over which he is to preside, as this subrace is to foreshadow that which will be fully manifested in the sixth great race. This meaning of the word Euphrates is generation to increase, the creative power. And the four angels which have been bound by man's misunderstanding and misuse of generation and his creative powers are the forces symbolized by the four beasts, the ox, the lion, the eagle, the scorpion, and the man. Until the present time, only very lowest aspect of generation has been recognized by humanity. But as the sixth angel, the angel of the sixth great race, sounding his call to our sixth subrace, sounds his trumpet, the ox, labor, must learn to toil not merely for wages, but to bring forth perfect and helpful things for the good of all. The lion must give us the courage to face our creations and through purified love, redeem them. From the experience of the scorpion, whose sting has poisoned the springs of life, we must bring about the regeneration of sex, that it may rise up like the eagle, and man, Aquarius, must give us the wisdom of self-knowledge. With these forces, we must lay the foundation upon which we are to erect our spiritual temple. The river Euphrates is referred to in many places in the Bible as a bringer forth, a fruitful river symbolizing the creative powers of man, and it was upon the bank of this river that the Tower of Babel, confusion, was built. It was confusion because only one aspect was recognized. Hence, the Tower of Babel symbolizes the limited, perverted aspect of the true temple of the sun, which must ultimately be built upon the banks of the great river. This points to the fact that in the coming new age, the spiritual or angelic aspects of the divine creative force shall be released from the stream of pollution, the trail of the serpent, in which they have been bound for so many ages. Hence, one of the outcomes of the coming struggle must be greater purity of thought in regard to all man's creative functions. The name Babel also means the gate of the Lord, law, and the city was founded by Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, or the force of evolution which finds or brings forth new manifestations of the law. The confusion of languages and the scattering of the people all over the earth symbolize the development of personal and intellectual conceptions of the law, which were not in harmony with those given humanity by its divine teachers upon which to build its civilization. And only as humanity returns once more to a common understanding of the universal spiritual principles of wisdom religion, can the confusion of thought and teaching be transformed into harmony and humanity, being able to build a spiritual temple which shall reach into heaven. The confusion also symbolized that many individual aspects of concept and creation, which the great river of light brings to man, he can build his individual temple. The angels referred to in the next text represent the messengers of the Lord, law, whose trumpeted call is finding response in the hearts of the elect, those who have elected to follow the divine guidance. The elect are those who are being gathered together from the four winds to form the advance guard of the coming great teacher, the Avatar. But the four angels lost by the sixth angel at the command of the voice are those who shall bring about the cleansing of humanity's temple, who shall bring forth into the clear searching light of truth every hidden idol, be it enshrined in every so sacred a niche, worship with ever so sacred a ceremony, or guarded and upheld by ever so plausible priestly sophistries. In fact, everything that demands man's worship and his spiritual or even his mental allegiance must now stand forth naked in the searchlight of truth, which the coming great angel Avatar is turning upon men's minds and hearts. For verily, we are living in the days in which it is decreed that there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. The voice which gave the command to release the four angels came from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God. Horns symbolize powers, the perfect balance of love, faith, trust, and patience. Hence, the horns of the altar would mean the powers which are conferred upon one who lays hold of the horns of the altar, the superhuman powers which would be available to the true priest of the Most High, who as an initiate was a true prophet, priest, and king unto God. The voice was the voice of all that should be held most sacred and holy, protecting against materialization and desecration of the Holy of Holies by many of those who stand before the world as priests, but are not. Besides the personal meaning of this allegory, there is also a universal application as pertaining to humanity. The altar of any temple is that portion in or upon which the worship is focused, that place where the incense of prayer, devotion, and aspiration continually ascends, where the true priest offers daily sacrifices, the sacrifice of his human personality, of a pure heart, and of life devoted to enlightening, guiding, and helping his people toward a personal realization and a correlation with the divine. In the great temple of humanity, man has erected for himself an altar, or that upon which his devotion and worship of the divine is focused, namely religion. Before this altar today, however, we seldom find the initiate priest, the Superman, fully conscious of his oneness with divinity and endued with wisdom and understanding of the mysteries of the kingdom of God, hence able to direct and use the powers which come from the horns of the altar. Owing to this lack of wisdom, understanding, and power, the four angels of humanity's temple have been imprisoned in the Euphrates, but now must be released from the bondage of misconception and materialization under which they have been held for centuries. The bondage created by man's misconception of religion, they have been called the fourth by the voice crying from out the altar, appealing to the sixth angel and his children, the more enlightened humanity of the sixth sub-race, demanding freedom from the autocracy of the church and for liberty and worship. They have been commanded to go forth and purify the temple of humanity, its accumulated evils. One interpretation of these four angels in this cycle may be called service, enthusiasm, righteousness, and unity. The false manifestations into which they have been perverted by man are the power of unselfish service to mankind, which through selfishness and ignorance has degraded into priestcraft. 2, ardor for the spread of spiritual light and truth, which has degenerated into hypocrisy. 3, the desire that righteous or harmony with divine law should guide mankind, now turned into intolerance and the persecution of those whose conceptions of right differ. And 4, that sense of oneness or the gathering of all into universal truth, which has been turned into separation of secretism. That's not coming out. Gotta love my head. All these aspects of the four angels which have been perverted by man, either overwhelmed by the waves of sex temptation or stranded in the midst of the river on the rock of sex misconceptions, must now be let loose and their sway over him until he recognizes his mistakes, recognizes them for what they are, until he repents and purges his religion from them and redeems them from their bondage and enables them to manifest their true nature. Thus does the Lord often use as his messengers or angels the very evil he is correcting, for only as a man is permitted to eat of the bitter bread of his own kneading, or suffer from the perverted aspect of the four angels which he has enshrined upon the altar of his temple, will he recognize their falsity, drive them out, and bring back the true. Man has enthroned them, and man only can dethrone them. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay a third part of man, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. The ciphers in the number of the 200,000 horsemen were all called forth by the angels, symbolized in an almost unlimited number, while the figure 2 shows that this army will be composed of both sexes, men and women, that this war will be mental war or conflict of ideas is clearly shown. Since horses always symbolize intellectual conceptions or powers, also their power is in their mouth. Then, who sat thereon symbolize all the awakened thinkers, both men and women, who must be the ones to bring this woe to an end by purging the minds of men of their misconceptions, by the fire which issued out of their mouths. Although this is done in love, yet with great power and courage, symbolized by their having the heads of lions, or Leo, the sign of the heart. The second woe will have 4 distinct periods during which the foundation of the new age will be laid. For we are told that the 4 angels will prevail for an hour and a day and a month and a year. Although we all also told that of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven. So we can gain an approximate idea if we remember the first woe was allotted 5 months or 5 short periods for its duration. These periods are not literal, but symbolic. And we note that the first period of the World War lasted nearly 5 years, with a considerable overlapping before all the fighting ceased and peace reigned. With this working out in mind, we can apply the same standard to the second woe. But in doing so, we must remember one great factor, which must always be taken into consideration, namely that man has free will within certain wide limits. While he has a fixed destiny, sorry, but I agree with that, his ultimate spiritual perfection, which is not fate, until he becomes as one of us, the gods. Yet he is free to choose both how soon and in what manner he will work out the destiny. He can resist the divine guidance, break the law, suffer greatly, retard his advance along the path of attainment, or he can follow the guidance, work with the law, and in peace and harmony greatly accelerate his spiritual unfoldment. Well, good goddamn. The exercise of his free will affects not only an individual man, but also communities, nations, races, and the entire evolution of the planet. Therefore, every event that is foreshadowed or prophesied, no matter how definitely, is subjected to this variable factor of man's free will. Its hour of manifestation depends upon how man reacts to it. Does he learn his lesson quickly, or he must suffer a long time, or he's ready to repent, turn around? Do 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 do. Sorry. They're just validating everything I say all the time, constantly and repetitively. They're saying it. You're the one who is the captain of your ship. Are you going with the wind, or are you like being a jerk and going, not yet. We're just going to chill out over here. And you're being blown back. Are you going with the tide or against the tide? There are circumstances that we wrote into our contract, right, that have to play out regardless. We choose our reactions to it. So if we choose to just go be the flow, as Linda would say, be the flow, don't go with it, be the flow. Just don't go with it, be it, embody the flow. Your circumstances and things are going to be a whole lot better. I keep telling people this. And yeah, you're supposed to go through trials and tribulations and catalysts. That is not something you can escape from. Even if things look peachy keen and rosy on the outside, you don't know what's going on with somebody's mental capacities. Somebody could be rich and be handed everything they ever wanted, but do they know how to get through hard times? Probably not. This is important. So change your reactions. Again, we're here. We're in the time of change. Change your reaction to things in your world, and things will change. Raise your frequency, your awareness. I can tell you right now, the last 2 days, and then including today, even though I'm all stuffy and stuff, I had an amazing 3 days. I was happy. I was like super excited yesterday. I was beaming the light. There was nothing that was going to make me sad yesterday or pissed off. Nothing. Even if someone tried to throw that curveball at me, cha-ching, goodbye. Even today, it's like, oh, yeah, doing the lawn is a big chore. You know what? But I put music on it. I was dancing. I was having a blast. I got to see Viking. He was working and he had to go stop to my neighbor for some stupid reason. And he hung out on my driveway for a little bit. I got him a bottle of water. It was great. We gotta come into a realization. It's your reactions to things. How are you reacting? And if you're not aware of how you're reacting, that is a lot of work on your end that you need to start doing. And it's either it's going to be forced upon you. We're at the juncture right now where we're back on the main line. We're not on parallel anymore. We're on the organic timeline. Day 2, hi. It's going to take a very long time for things to unfold the way we all want them to, collectively. But they're happening. Things are happening. But what is your reaction to it? And are you thinking just of yourself and your immediate people around you? Or are you thinking about everybody in humanity when you're thinking big term things? From the present outlook, 1921, of the world conditions, we may calculate that the first period of readjustment, an hour, will see the readjustment of capital and labor, which is quite likely to come to a tremendous crisis soon, but which should be as quickly settled, although doubtless leaving many tangled ends to be unraveled later. The second phase, a day, may be, well, the struggle for the political and social readjustments now taking place. Naturally, it will take many times as long as the first phase for the working out. The third phase, a month, will embrace the great upheaval and consequent strife and struggle, which is unavoidable in the overturning and readjustment of religious conceptions, teachings, and thoughts on spiritual subjects. It must also bring about a readjustment of political, social, industrial, educational, and financial organizations and methods looking toward greater cooperation, freedom of exchange, and uniform administration of justice between organizations, classes, and nations. They said 1921! This is now. Do you think that, I mean, obviously time travel exists, but I mean, do you think these people like came and got prophesized about this time and they are making it so that when it was released back in the 1920s, they weren't heretics, even though probably people thought they were crazy? I mean, just a thought, because this sounds like it's now. And if we are repeating it again, we know what to brace for. Like, get mentally prepared for the shit show circus playing in the theater near you out here. But if you have a solid foundation of light and love and harmony within you, nothing is going to make you crumble. You're going to walk around and be the best you can be every day. And that might look different every day. Right? Like now I'm like, I look tired. I look like, but I'm fine. I'm happy. This is what we need to look into. It's a lot of work. And there are a lot of us who are in the right mindset, mind frame, in alignment with humanity, with the new coming in and interweaving and bringing itself into our. We're not gonna be vibrating between third and fourth anymore because we're already fourth. We just gotta kick our butts, just get past this wall. Like I said the other day, I'm past that wall. Like, but I don't want to leave everybody behind. It's not in me to do so. I want to. This is why I'm here. All these 3 phases may be experienced within the space of 4 or 5 years. While the 4th phase, a year, we may expect to last from 12 to 15 years. This period must necessarily be somewhat extensive, since time must be given within it for the trying out of all the new conceptions presented as solution of the world conflict, for testing all the new standards of thought and conduct, the weeding out of the false from the true, of sophistries from true and comprehensive philosophies, and the beginning of the establishment of practical manifestation of real brotherhood among men and nations. All this will not be accomplished except through much intolerance, conflict, tribulation, and bitter woe. So there's so much rattling in my brain, channeling wise. It's insane. So earlier today, I am going to do a book review tomorrow on the Visions from Venus. And as I finished the book early this morning, I went back to I was watching my quote video. I don't like watch my video right away. And I got a message from re-listening to that, finishing the Atlantis book, and putting that book with the channeling, and now like what was just said into perspective. I got channeled this morning. All that is being presented to you in front of you that are people with the best intentions possible, for the most part. Some are shady shit people that are playing good. This is how we are been and have always been deceived. The agendas that are out in our ether near you, med beds, RV, and money, financial stuff is a test. Choose wisely. Like I said about anything, we are going to stop perceiving when we're looking back at a situation to answer our questions. Instead of seeing it through your narrow lens, your two eyes, you're going to see yourself as an eagle, and you're going to look down and you're going to see yourself playing out roles. Now, when you're doing that, are you doing it from love? Are you doing it for humanity? Are you doing it within the intentions that if you messed up, yes, you release and let it go, but it's a test. What is sophistry? It's being into yourself. It's not like it's very seriously a narcissist. Just to be, simplistic with the philosophy. It's all about yourself. And with a lot of the people that are in the financial world, with the crypto, with the financial system, period, everybody's concerned about third density shit. Where we're already up, we moved up. This is the in-between period where we're letting go of the old to bring in the new. We don't really know what the new looks like, because we want to make claims that a certain person has it all worked out for us. And I don't believe that's the case. How could he know? Or the group of people that are in this cog know every single detail that needs to be fixed? That's not humanly possible. The larger picture is seen, absolutely, and most of us have seen it ourselves. It's up to us to implement these things. It's not up to one person or a group of people. They might have the better ideas, but maybe my idea might be better. Now, no one listens to me because people are still idolizing others. The same could be said about many of you. Some of you, like, I'm going to bring Jack into the fold. Jack is freaking amazing at understanding the Articles of Confederation. Now, if he could set a standard for each state, here's what you should be looking at, here's what you should be, thinking of. Now everybody should come together and really figure out what will be harmonious for each and every state. That is something that is going to be needed and vital. That one person is not going to dictate 50 different states' laws. Every state has different laws for different things, exceptions, exemptions. And I mean, if we take the handgun, the constitutional carry, it's not like if I go into Illinois, I could be arrested. The reciprocity, there's certain states that you can't go into with firearms. It's in the Constitution. Thou shalt bear arms. And for people out there, I used to be one of those people that lived in a blue state that feared firearms. I didn't really fear them as in holding them or using them. I just didn't like not having control of others. But it's just like a vehicle or anything. We all take risks going outside. Guess what? The odds are stacked with me now because I can go outside, and if someone does something stupid, I can match it back. I'm not helpless anymore. We're all being tested. Different things, different capacities. Take their guidelines and now modernize them. It's the best way to put it. Quote, all these are the beginnings of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. End quote. Those who are delivered up to be afflicted and to be hated of all nations for the name's sake are all those who recognize the light of the Christ within, who stand for the absolute liberty of each heart to interpret the divine as it is revealed to him, which is all of us are different, and who also stand for freedom from persecution, whether religious, social, political, or industrial, because of their beliefs. It embraces all who are working sincerely for the enlightenment, the uplift, the independence, the self-reliance, the purification of the inspiration of mankind through his recognition of the divinity within himself, who are therefore working for the overthrow of autocracy or compulsion of any kind in thought and religion. Jesus, in describing the second woe, said, quote, and then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because inequity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. End quote. There will be a tendency to go to extremes, to pull down all established institutions just because they were established under the old regime. As is always the case, before equilibrium is attained, the pendulum of popular opinion will tend to swing to the opposite extreme. Ignorance and blind obedience through compulsion When driven to desperation by lack of sympathy and understanding, ever tends to end its sufferings by plunging into an orgy of self-cold liberty, which uncontrolled quickly becomes licensed to express its selfishness, greed, and animal lusts in horrors of injustice, tyranny, cruelty, and bloodshed, quite as frightful as those against which it revolted. Many ignorant ones seek to rectify their wrongs, yet only make their ignorance more dense by seeking to eliminate the educated and enlightened in an endeavor to obtain their goal. Such an ideal persistently maintained makes humanity stand aghast. Does it mean that civilization has failed? And that all the results of culture, refinement, invention, and progress the 20th century has obtained are to be wiped off the face of the earth and man be reduced to a state of savagery and the reign of brute force? No, it does not. It is but the confusion due to the overlapping of a great cycles of evolution, and the length of this period depends upon how mankind reacts to it. I love them. This is pure genius. I say a lot of this just in my own wording. When you stop feeding the shit show playing outside near you, when you're only feeding your light, positivity, love, and joy. Yeah, I glance at people's articles and stuff people send me all the time. Does that mean I engage emotionally into anything? Absolutely not. Zero. Oh my God, she just did an Illuminati sign. Oh my gosh. That's the nonsense that gotta go. All is one. All is source. Source plays through each and every one of us. Why are you still separating yourselves from your other selves that are playing a negative role? When you stop labeling, judging, and wanting to slaughter people for just being a race, a culture, from a country. Yeah, there are evil, evil, evil shits out there in this world. Don't get me wrong. We all know that. It's not some unknown fact. It is a fact. We know this. But how close at the end of the day, and I say it all the time, you keep feeding the shit, it's gonna keep being here and manifesting the world it wants and not the world we all want. When you keep drawing attention to negative things, those negative things are going to keep popping up and keep playing out in the theater near you. I'm tired just as much as everybody else is of the things being hidden from us, but it's all deception, all is illusion, and it's not worth having all of that rent space in your mind. You know what I'd rather have in my mind? Knowledge. Self-worth and love, courage, perseverance, thinking of what is the new world going to look like for everybody, not just for what I can see. What harmony and vibratory states do I want to bring to this world? That's what I'm trying to manifest, and I hope that many of you are trying to do the same thing. And I know many of you are. But there's still a lot of people stuck in the, oh, this person said this, so it must be true. This is not CNN, even if it's from a different, from your side perspective, people that you align with. Why are you just allowing people to dictate your reality to you? Even myself, I don't ask you, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to find these truths within you. People ask me my opinions all the time. What do you think? You know the answer. It's inside you. You're not just, why are you being lazy? I love you to death. I mean, some of you have gotten that response from me. It's not to be an asshole. It's not to be mean. You got to do the work to get your answers. I can't give them for you. That's why I don't read for people. And the timelines are still going to be cray cray. They're still going to be crazy. Because just because we just got onto the, like, I'm going from the channeling the other day, just because we got on the right track and we're now on the back on track, doesn't mean that now we need a forward momentum. We need everybody to move in unison for this train to go. It just got landed nicely and softly on its tracks. Now it takes all of us to push it forward. And that's up to each and every one of us. How much longer is this going to take is on all of us, not on somebody that's 45, 47, and the team thereof, or the cog, or whoever. Oh, it's the Anunnaki, it's these people, it's that people. Listen, if you're of the light, they've been helping us since who God knows when. Since things existed before Earth became Earth. It's true. It's up to us to grow on this train. There is no conductor. There is nobody steering or driving this choo-choo. No one's driving it because we're all pushing it together. The captain left the captain left the controls in everybody's hands. There is nobody sitting back and doing nothing. It takes all of us to move that train together. If each of us takes a part of the train and pushes forward, it moves forward. Right now, there's not too many, there is people, but it's not enough. It's a really heavy train. It's like one of those old school trains. It's very heavy. It's not the light ones, not the Amtrak ones. They're the old school steel trains. We all have to push it together. If you don't do your work, you're going to get tired. This is mentally done. This is not something physical. Yes, physical eventually. But right now, we got to get our minds ready to see the world crumble before us and to do the really difficult work of establishing what we want our world to look like. We can't manifest it if we're all not in a cohesive understanding together. This is what that's bringing out. Sorry, I keep going off on tangents, but that's upstairs. I don't control that. While the last phase of the second woe seems to follow after the others, in truth, it is but a part of them. For we have but to look around us today to see and hear of many false prophets who work wonders for time and deceive many. This phase exists with the other phases, yet will last far longer. And that ends this section. The next one is the Day of Judgment. That's going to be interesting. But this chapter, I had to stop so many times because this is where we are. We just yesterday landed our little choo-choo train on the track of the organic timeline, and now it's going to take about 6 months to a year for all of us to start I've already been mind explosions, epiphanies, connect the dots on other levels that I would have never made before. I'm re-listening to a lot of the Quo channelings. I'm making new connections I never made before. I'm going to start another book tomorrow by Suzanne Lai. Just making all these crazy connections and then using all the books that I read on this channel. Mind explosions. They're amazing. They're exhausting. Not gonna lie. But we need to focus on going in and getting this mental gymnastics working out right, because as much as this is hard for us to handle our own heads, now think about the collective consciousness. It ain't looking pretty right now because the world is not a pretty place on the outside. I know that yesterday I had a freaking blast. I was happy. Nothing was going to take my day away from me. The day before, too, was a complete left field in a good way. Had a mariachi band sing me happy birthday, even though it's really early. My birthday's the 16th, but it was super sweet. Didn't think that he had it in him. And then today, I put some good music on. You know, I'm mowing my lawn, and all the butterflies and moths and you know, fourth density creatures are just popping out and flying near me. They're not landing on me. They're not making me freak out because I don't want parasites on me, ticks, fleas, or any of that nasty stuff. But it was like whimsical and magical. I made dandelion tea today. It's sitting overnight. I can't wait to have a cup. I had a great day. It's beautiful. It's exciting. This is how things should be every day for all of us. Yeah, we still have 3D shit that still needs to play out. I got my property tax bill. I almost fainted. Even though it's not as much as New York, but crap. It went up by a lot. So I got to figure out what I am doing to pay that. But it doesn't matter at this moment in time. I'm not letting that worry me. Whatever. I'll figure it out. This is how we need to approach what's coming. Mental gymnastics. I prepared for my parents' death as when I was a little kid. As messed up as that sounds, I was mentally able to handle their death because I was aware that everybody dies and everybody's just transcending. It's just a vehicle, it's an avatar. So it didn't have attachment and detachment. Yeah, of course I cried. I was upset. But I smiled because I knew they were right here. And everybody's different. And that's okay. That's what's beautiful about this experience. The understanding that we're in this phase. Well, it doesn't matter if we go by there. Whoa, woo, whoa. Doesn't matter. We're here. We didn't see the old world collapse yet. It's collapsing currently. The tower moment's fallen and now shit's crumbling. But we didn't see the new system be implemented on any level just yet. We get little hints, and I think that's also agendas and taking you off your purpose by people being fixed, focused on certain agendas. As much as I love people, and I want to help. You got to balance everything. Because when you see, if you're not aware of this, the bad side of you, you're not going to be aware of the good. If you say you don't have an ego, the hypocrisy comes in when all you're doing in conversation is overpowering it and not allowing other people to talk. And it's all about you. And then when you do step back, the most beautiful, eloquent things comes out. It is amazing. We need to find balance. And I see this happening with so many people that I talk to. You got to find the balance. We have to be able to articulate our points. We have to be able to come into an understanding that we're all one. Individuated pieces of source. It's all we are. It's beautiful. It's humbling. There shouldn't be anybody idolizing other people. And yet the very people that say that are idolizing the flag. Putting people on podiums. Well, that person's a time travel. We all time travel constantly. How do you define time traveling? We got to get out of the ego. We got to realize what we are inside. Yes, ego is healthy, and when used right, it saves us and protects us. But we're merging into our loom body, not the animal body. We're leaving this. We're leaving this body. Eventually. This was an incredible section. It was a little short, but I talked and I was like, I'll probably leave this one short and we'll see what happens with the next one. I need a new chair, by the way. It's annoying. I don't know what kind I want. I've been looking. I look for deals. I didn't see anything just yet. I mean, I can still sit in it, but I need a footy rest. Crazy. But they bring up something about the pendulum swinging. So if we go back into the Kabbalion and do the polarity, we can adjust our own pendulum. So we have a bad day, we're over here. Well, how do we get to neutral and how far into the swing of the positive can we go that day? Every day is a different day. It would be a little crazy if you went from one extreme to the other. It's coming into a balance and saying, well, what can raise my frequency? Oh, I'm going to watch a cute animal video. I'm going to clap because that helps vibe our vibes. I'm going to dance around. I don't care what people think. I'm going to do something creative today. That stuff might just swing your pendulum a little further up, but it's helping. But take that concept and now apply it to the world, this reality. How do we get billions of people to stop being here in the negative and swing at least halfway into the neutral, into the positive? But we don't need to be, we need to be realistic. So like here. How do we do that? And because there's so many industries, businesses, and things that have been influenced by the negative polarity, is so this is something also I got earlier. We want certain things to collapse because we claim in our perception that it's negative. But what happens if it does serve a purpose? It was just inverted. How everything has been inverted to some extent. Even people with the organic food. Food should be organic, period, end of story. But like there shouldn't be a name to it because if it grows out of the ground, it should imply that it's from Earth. But obviously there's chemicals and all kind of nasty stuff sprayed on everything. But they're not really being even truthful to you to know what actually is going into the food at the plant that it's being made in. Unless it's like a mom and pop farm with a small distribution machinery inside their place. You can't worry about that trivial stuff. If you bless your food, regardless of what you put into your body, yeah, you can rapidly increase your timeline to death, even though you're going to transform and be light anyway. Or you can be here healthy and do the right thing for your body. Everybody's body is differently and functions differently. We have to stop judging. Each and every one of us has to stop judging. All choices are choices we made. Who we want to be. If you haven't figured it out, that's okay. I don't have it all figured out. I wish I did. I can't know for myself either, because then I would be breaching my own free will and making better decisions and going, oh, well, that's not my greatest highline. What is my greatest timeline? Oh, I wouldn't gain any experience. I wouldn't have wisdom to walk through if I didn't have the pain and the suffering to go through. Crazy times. So I know I ranted a lot. I do apologize. Um, again, I got a lot going on up here in terms of just downloads and things I'm getting. I'm still sifting them through, but if you listen to my channeling from yesterday with Ella Research and Qual, and then go back to listen to this again, a lot of what I'm saying will start clicking and making a little, maybe some sense. We haven't failed. It looks like that for right now, but it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of perseverance on all of our behalves, not just one or two people, not just the people that wear hats that are white. It takes all of us. So like I said the other day, my purpose is here. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Many of you have been the same way. You're waiting and waiting. It's here. Step into, just hold the light right now. If you're not knowing what your purpose is, that's okay. Because your purpose is to be here and to smile and to raise the frequency of yourself, because that raises the frequency around everybody else. So if anything at all, if you have not yet figured out your purpose, that's okay. You are the light. You are the love. Embrace it, shine it, bring it forward, and let it rip. I know I've been doing that the last few days. I don't care how crazy people think I am. I'm sarcastic, and I can go dark as quick as I can be light. I know how to play both sides. And it's fantastic. But I'm probably going to have to go get some sleep. I have an early morning again tomorrow. But I wanted to get this one in. And I'm going to do a book review tomorrow on The Visions of Venus. Really excited. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Website is fun to look at all the artwork, and if not, just get a happy smile. That's that's I'm not sure if I'm going on Jack Breaks Out on Friday. Not sure. The show schedule for April, I was just hey, when everybody had a spot, I'm here. I didn't show up with Jack Breaks Out during the eclipse, only because the boyfriend had to go get a scan. He had to take off of work for it. It worked out. He picked the girls up a little earlier from school, and we got some lunch, and we tailgated right behind the place we got lunch, and we saw the eclipse, and it was amazing, and it was so much fun. And we got to include some of his fellow employees, his coworkers. They all came over when they were working to check it out, and they were all excited. So we got to do really good things, and then we got the doggy, and we went to the park and played some volleyball and had some fun. I wasn't home the entire day, and it was great. It was great being out in nature. It was great being out in the middle of a field, looking at the eclipse. It was fun. And I hope everybody that did go out and experience and have fun had it. And those of you who don't honor that stuff, because I know a lot of people follow different beliefs and faiths or things, that you weren't doing any of it in fear, that you're doing it out of respect and love. If you could take anything away, bring love into everything that you do. Even the people you can't stand. Send them love. See how much your life is going to change once you do that. And it's going to test you, and it's going to be hard, and it might suck a bit. But once you get the hang of it, you're going to increase, and it's going to be amazing. Sending each and every one of you love, like, compassion, grace. Shielding, protection, energy. You need it. Shield, protection. Be safe, be seen, spread the love, be the lighthouse. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Have a great night, day, or afternoon, wherever you're at in this beautiful world that we're in. And remember, align with yourself first. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye for now.